Hey, beautiful people, it's me, EL, your favorite dyslexic book nerd. And today I got the man, the myth, the legend, Terry J Benton-Walker with me. Hey, how you doing?
Hey friend, I'm good. How are you?
I cannot complain. I am awesome. You done terrorized me again.
Yeah, my
You
bad.
terrorized me again.
I warned you though. I did warn you.
You did.
Hmm?
So we are here to talk about Alex Wise.
Yes.
And the cosmic shift just, you know what I'm saying? It just, oh my God.
Yeah, we're good. Are we gonna get into it? Are we gonna get
Yeah,
into
we're
that one?
gonna get into it. Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes, we are. So tell my readers, for those who don't know about
Mhm.
the Alex Wise series.
Alex Wise versus the End of the World is a middle grade contemporary fantasy that is perfect for fans of the Percy Jackson series and the Tristan Strong series. And it's about 12-year-old Alex Wise, who one summer after sixth grade accidentally unleashes the four horsemen of the apocalypse, and death possesses his little sister and kicks off a global apocalypse. Alex also is chosen by an ancient god from a parallel universe and given special powers that he will have to learn how to accept himself to fully activate to be able to save his little sister and stop the end of the world. And the sequel, Alex Wise versus the Cosmic Shift, is coming out on September 24th. And it picks up right where Alex Wise versus the End of the World left
Man, let me tell you. I was like, oh, you had me. I was in. I was in. And then I was like, we're gonna have a fairy tale ending. No, we not. Cause
on.
then I forgot
No, no, baby.
there's another book coming. Like,
Hmm.
no, no. Man, I was like, no. I was like, I'm torn. My whole body was like, what? So yeah, I definitely gotta go get this book
Hmm.
when it comes out. Cause I need to talk about it. I need some people to have read it. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Oh my God. Like I I'll tell you what, I love the vulnerability in Alex.
Hmm.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah, Alex is one of my most special characters because he represents myself when I was that age, and struggling I was struggling to deal with a lot of the same stuff that Alex is dealing with. I was at that age I was trying to figure out or understand if I was gay. Um, and I never got a chance to really figure it out for myself because other people decided it for me and then bullied me for it, just like Alex. I was also a child of divorce, just like Alex. When I was 13, my parents divorced. And just like Alex, I felt like I wasn't good enough for my dad because I wasn't athletic. And there's actually a scene in Alex Wise versus the End of the World that I pulled from my very own personal trauma archives. And it was the moment that Alex's dad signed him up for Little League baseball when he was 9 years old. And Alex is not athletic. Alex had no interest in sports, just like me. Never asked to do it, but he did it for his dad because he thought that he could impress his dad and make his dad love him. And of course, it was a disaster. And he overheard his dad calling him an embarrassment, which is something that happened to me in real life. And that was something that I carried, well into my 30s. I mean, I still think about it. And unlike unlike me, Alex got to get a little bit of resolution on that, and closure on that before the end of the book. And the second reason why Alex is so special to me is because, you know, because of the trauma that I had when I was younger, like being bullied and feeling like I wasn't good enough for my dad and, all of that other stuff, it took me over 30 years to learn to accept and love myself just the way that I was born and the way I was created. And I wanted to write Alex. I created Alex's character, and I wanted to write his story so that other Black queer kids, especially Black queer boys, can see themselves represented and see someone who looks like them, who comes from a similar background as them, dealing with some of the same stuff that they're dealing with, so that they can understand that who they are is okay and it won't take them as long as it took me to love themselves. Because if I would have had a book like Alex Wise when I was 13, the whole trajectory of my young adult life would have been completely different.
Man, I'm telling you, like I've already said, like I like it's like the book I needed when I was a kid. That I'm so glad that it's now here for kids that are
Mhm.
coming up, right? And not even kids, like adults also, like
Yeah.
you
You know,
know.
I found a lot of adults like my kidlet too, because you got to think about it. When we were coming up, we didn't have stuff like this, so our inner child is still hungry,
Yes,
and you tap back into your childhood in a way when you're reading these stories about these Black kids because we didn't get it. So I definitely understand that.
definitely. I'm like, yes, I'm a TJ Verse fan.
Yeah, I
All
mean
the way.
you're a VIP citizen of the
Hey,
TJ verse at this point, you know.
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You my VIP card. Like, do you so okay, so how I see it, like you might not see it this way, but do you
Mhm.
see yourself as a voice for um queer generation?
Uh, I don't necessarily see myself as their voice because their voices are very strong on their own. They don't need me to speak for them.
Thanks.
I see myself as someone who is in support of their voice and their generation. And that's why I do everything that I do. And every single story that I write has a deeper purpose and a deeper meaning. And I write from my own personal experiences, and those themes in these stories, the themes in Alex Wise, the themes in Blood Debts and Blood Justice, even the themes in my story for The White Guy Dies First, all of it is related to or was born out of things that I have experienced, lessons that I have had to learn the hard way. So when I'm crafting my stories, I put those lessons and those themes into those stories um, to send a message to queer kids and to well not just queer kids but queer people in general because like we didn't have like I said we didn't have that stuff when we were younger, so the message is for the whole community but specifically targeted for kids. And I hope that it inspires them and empowers them to strengthen and build up their voices as they are fighting for justice and they're figuring out who they are and advocating for themselves.
Definitely that. I'll be cheering them on. Let's go.
Yes.
Just like I was cheering on Alex, Lim, and Lorraine. I was like, hey, come on. Um, where do you draw um your not your main character, but they're the people that surround them? Where do you draw those characters from?
Mhm. Um, that's a good question. So sometimes side characters are inspired by people I know in real life. Sometimes I just be making it up. I'm always thinking about like the main character and the people that are in their lives and how they shape why that main character is the way that they are. For Lauren, Alex's best friend, she was inspired by one of my friends at the time. and I drew largely on like conversations that I had had with her about like her childhood and how she was. She was just like Lauren growing up, and I think, and I was gonna say she was the only person that was inspired by in a real life person, but that would be a lie. Cadillac Freddie, the store owner that
Yes.
Alex saves in Alex Wise versus the End of the World, who is also in Cosmic Shift. I absolutely love Freddie. He is inspired by my in real life grandfather who passed away when I was in undergrad, but he, yeah, he inspired Cadillac Freddie. And his name was Fred. He didn't drive a Cadillac. He drove an old beat up Ford pickup truck, but he always wanted a Cadillac. So
I'm telling you that's the old man car. Cadillac.
right.
Well, when I get to be an old man, I'm gonna need one. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you got to get one.
Definitely, definitely. How do you go from um um your how you go from being engineer to being um in my opinion one of the greatest writers in the game? Like how do we, because
Thank you.
you know what I'm saying, that's like a big,
Hmm.
so how do we get here?
So I don't know. I'm one of those weird people that use both sides of my brain. Like I love math and science, but I also love art. And I've always done both. Even when I was a kid, I loved stories. I loved writing. I was always, I had it, I still do have a very vivid imagination, and I'm always like making up stuff. And that's like my 4-year-old loves me because when he wants me to like play with him, I'm always with the shits. Like I get in character, like we come up with stories and everything. But yes, I love math and science, and I became an industrial engineer, and I worked in a lot of different industries. I worked for Georgia Pacific and Robert Bosch, and I consulted for a while. I did management consulting and manufacturing and operations, and that was a lot of fun. And actually, I haven't completely left engineering behind because some of the stuff that I learned in engineering, I apply it to my writing. So I'm super analytical. So I'm always thinking about, like breaking down my characters and like building them back up and thinking like what makes them tick. I'm super logical about planning my stories. Like I even create for the Blood Debt series because I write in multiple POVs. I create swim lane charts, which is something that we use in engineering. And I use it to plot each character's arc for the book. And then I link the plots together in the swim lanes. And even with my project management, like that came in handy when I was editing The White Guy Dies First. And I was a bit of a project manager on steroids. Like we had Gantt charts, and we had like master project files, we had databases, we had everything, but it ran smoothly. Um, and so I haven't completely given it up.
Okay, I see you, I see you. What would be some advice you give to somebody just starting out?
I have a lot of advice. I'm thinking of what's best to give. If you're just starting out, my advice to you would be to read as often as you can and read widely. Read different authors, read different genres. Also, I have a novel planning kit on my website, and that is a collection of exercises that will help you plan your novel from concept to a high level outline. And it'll help you get started. And there's also a worksheet in there on writing a pitch, a query pitch, which you'll need when you start querying. And the reason I put that together is it took me 8 years and 7 manuscripts to sign with my agent. And then after that, I took another year to rewrite Blood Debts before we went on submission. And over that time, I studied a lot of craft. Every time I would have to shelve a manuscript, I would go study a craft book and I would learn something new and apply it to my next project. So I took the best of the best exercises that I learned over those 8 years and seven manuscripts and compiled them into that one novel planning kit. And I actually still use it to plan my own novels to this day. So if you're starting out and you're not quite sure like what you should be thinking about or how to put a novel together, that's a really good place to start. It's a free resource. It will always be free. And I put it together to help, especially, well, everybody can use it, but I expect it especially exists for marginalized artists because part of the reason it's already difficult for us to break into publishing, and part of the reason is a lack of access to information and resources. That's why it took me 8 years. I don't wear that as a badge of honor. I don't want it to take another Black person, or especially another Black queer person, or any of us that long to get published again. So that's my way of hopefully helping y'all out and getting y'all some of the information a little bit quicker than it took me to get
That's because you're awesome.
it. Thank you.
Definitely awesome.
Yeah.
Now, how do you balance, you know, writing, family, life?
Mhm.
What's your balance? What do you do?
Well, I have to make time for things that are important. Um, and I have to remind myself to make time for me. Also, this is where engineering comes in too. So I design processes around my house to make things very efficient. So that has helped me a lot. Um, my family is very routine driven, especially my 4-year old. And if we get off routine, he's like, "Hey, like, something, get back in step. This is not what we do." Um, and I had to realize too that I'm doing a lot. So some things I have to let go. So like I don't clean my house during the week. It is what it is. I clean up on Sunday when I'm getting ready for the week. And it's just little stuff like that.
I got you. Um, let's see. So I know you do YA a lot, right? But
Hmm.
are we looking to get into adult fantasy fiction?
Hmm. Yes. Yes. Right now I'm working on Alex Wives 3, which is the finale of the trilogy. And after that, I'm working on an adult romantasy that is a science fiction and fantasy mashup inspired by The Last Unicorn.
Mm.
And I call that the code name for that project is Gay Dragons. It's a Black love story, and it's a Black queer love story between two Black men. And it's amazing. I love it. It is also an allegory on domestic violence and toxic relationships. And it's also a love story. And it's my first real love story. Like, we had Clem and Eve's in Bloodbeds, right?
Yeah.
But the romance kind of took a back seat a little bit in that book because there's so much other stuff going on. But the romance is at the forefront of this story, and there's other very exciting things going on in the background. But I'm really excited to dabble in romance with that one. And after that, also that is coming out under my tour contract, and so it'll actually be out in 2026, and we haven't announced it yet. So hopefully we'll announce soon, and I can talk more about it.
Cool.
But I'm also working on an adult psychological horror,
Ooh.
and I've plotted it and I've started drafting it. I'm still in the beginning. I'm still in chapter one, and I've recently had an epiphany about some things that I want to add to deepen the story and make it even more wild. But that is probably going to be my most technical project yet. I want to play with the reader's perception of reality.
Ooh.
Um, and it is. it is a piece about fatherhood and finding your identity and surviving unhealthy, toxic relationships, romantic relationships.
Okay, I'm in. I'm tapped in.
Yeah.
Definitely, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that. I ain't hear nothing about the next book in the Blood Death series, though. I didn't hear
Hmm.
nothing about that.
Well,
Damn.
I I always envisioned the Blood Debt series to be 5 books,
Mhm,
and Tor has only purchased the first 2. We still have to talk to them about purchasing the last 3. They have not said no; they're interested, and I'm hoping that we can start those conversations at the top of the year.
mhm, mhm,
And also I, I've had a lot of time to think about it, and I love that series. And I'm disappointed that I'm having to take like a little break for a bit before I finish it. But I think it's okay for a couple of reasons. One reason being that I am kind of in a transformational period in my life where I'm doing a lot of growing and changing and developing myself, and I'm not sure I'm ready to finish it just yet. And I need to cook a little bit more. And I think working on these adult projects, because I'm challenging, even with Alex Wise 3, and then going from that to my romantasy, and from that to my adult psychological horror, I'm challenging myself in some way and like leveling up my skills. And I want to be able to come back to the Blood Debt series and really give you all those last 3 books, like when I'm at my best. And also, I Blood Justice was a very special book. Um, I was very angry when I wrote that book, and the whole series is a form of protest, but Blood Justice specifically is a protest book. And Blood Death was real, but Blood Justice, we say the quiet part out loud.
mhm.
And so much in that book is relevant to so much that's going on right now in the world and in our communities and in our families and in our own personal lives. I'm not ready to move on from Blood Justice. I feel like I want it to sit with the community for a while, and I want it to marinate, and I really want us to read it and take it in and question our surroundings and what's going on, right? And I don't know, I just feel like we're not ready to move on from it yet.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna read it again.
Hmm. And something too, I write all of my stories to be read more than once. So when you go back and read it the second time, you're going to notice a lot more than you did the first time, because you know what to look for now, because you know what's going to happen.
Yes, because I'm definitely gonna have to read Alex Wise again.
Same thing.
Definitely. I was like,
Hmm.
and I love the growth, right? From the end of the world to the cosmic shift, like in all the
Thank
characters,
you.
especially in Alex and him learning to love himself,
Hmm.
and still in learning to love himself, still having those questions and those doubts sometimes. Like, you
Hmm.
know what I'm saying, which made him really really human and really really relatable in so many ways, right? So I was like,
Hmm.
awesome, awesome, awesome. I can't wait to the next book. Can't wait to the next books. Really, I'm
Hmm.
excited. Y'all need to go out and, hey, as these books come out, y'all need to go grab them. Hit the
Hmm.
library, hit the bookstore, wherever y'all
Yes.
getting y'all books from, man.
Hmm.
Listen, as a matter of fact, speaking about libraries, why did my library not have the books? Like I was like, hey,
None of them?
no.
Oh man. Well, thank you for requesting them.
Yeah, I was like, hey, y'all need to get y'all life together. What
It's
is
a
wrong
major
over here?
violation.
Right? Like, I know that was like, hey, let me who I gotta talk to? Where do I request
Mhm.
this at? You
Yeah,
know?
so for people watching and listening, if you go to your local library or your school library or even your local indie bookstore or your Barnes and Noble and you ask for any of my books and they're not there, just ask them to stock them and they will.
They surely will, because I was on their neck. They had like this little bookmarker and it has
Uh-huh,
all of these authors, all these white authors on it that
of course.
were affirmer or queer friendly, right? And your name
Mhm,
was not on the bookmark. So I was upset. So I was like, hey, what's happening?
mhm,
Right. And so then that started a conversation because then I was like looking for the books, right? And I
mhm.
couldn't find them. And I was like, are they out or you guys don't have them? And it was like, no, we don't have those. And then I was like, well, who I got to talk to? Because they need to be in here.
I really appreciate that.
Hey, I think your books are books that everybody need to read. You know, young and
Mhm,
old, most definitely. But you already know I'm a TJ fan.
I
You
appreciate
know,
that.
VIP membership in the verse, that's me.
Mhm, yep.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me again.
Of
And
course.
when the next
Anytime.
book come out, yay, I'm gonna be like, hey, so let's talk about it.
Mhm.
Hey, now listen, y'all need to go get Alex Wise in the Cosmic Shift when it comes out on the 24th. Y'all need to get it because it's my birthday is the 27th, but we're gonna say my birthday is all of September. So y'all need to grab this
Yes.
book when it comes out, right? Just for me, just because it's my birthday. And if y'all haven't read Alex Wise versus the End of the World, y'all need to grab that one too. So grab this one now and get it read. So y'all be ready for this one when it comes out. Most definitely, a banger. Heat out the kitchen.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. All right. Any final words for my readers before we go?
Just thank you for being here and for checking me out. And there's always a home for you in the TJ verse. So happy reading.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, y'all. All right, now. To the next time, y'all do me a favor. Go read a book.